It's not about convincing one man he's wrong. It's a whole system.
You think it's impossible? This has all happened before. If the names weren't Jennings and Rawl, they would be names like the British East India Trading Company. If it wasn't Ravenwood, it would be the Hessian Mercenaries. And it all comes down to the same thing.
Revolution.
Oh my God.
That's not enough. You have to create, and it has to be better than what you were disrupting. That's a lot to do with an optimistic attitude after what we've been through. So, get ready. I have to get this out. This has all happened before. Understand. History repeats. And we all know it. And we also know, a lot of us, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. But here we are again, okay? And I spent so long trying to get set up, I never go from notes. I was ready to go, and now I'm not ready to go, so. This world is run by psychopaths with an agenda of financial gain. What are we going to do about it? They came to kill us with COVID. Now, whether you want to think that they took the dagger in their hand and shoved it directly into our chest or not is another story. But their money, their funds, their priorities, their agendas, the amount of confusion that they wanted, that they benefited from, take all the time you need. Seriously. We haven't had trials about this. We had 7 Benghazi trials about 4 Americans that died in an embassy that was closed, that they chose to stay because they were doing their obligation. They were taking it on themselves. And I don't defend that at all, the administration, but they were patriots that lost their lives. 4 of them. How many people died during COVID? How many people have died in war in the last 20 years over the war on terror? Who won the war on terror, by the way? No one won the war on terror. The war is canceled. All the wars are canceled. You know what? If somebody asks you to kill somebody over money, put your fucking gun down, because we're done. We are done. I've said this. We're done. And I know that you're done. I know that when it gets down to it, you're done. Because you see it, you know it, we live it, we breathe it, we shut off the news about it, but we're done, okay? But we have to replace it with something. And that is being kind, not judging, and not holding on to these battles, okay? Ancestral battles. Don't go fight your grandparents' war without adopting it as your own sanity, okay? You need to do the discernment on it, okay? If you're fighting about a lie, and this is really rough, okay? I don't even know what I'm talking about with this, but like, somebody promises you something and then it doesn't work out, and you get to kill them? No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. That stupid meme. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. There was some logic to that, though. It's not how this works. And if you don't want to fix it in a civil way, as a reasonable person would, which is how we define the legal system, it's certainly not, we're not going to defend you for blood and shooting and killing and indoctrinating kids into like hating future kids. Like, just let it die. Let it end. It's not that fucking important. It's not. And if you think it is, then you're the problem. Because we can all sort it without fucking killing each other. And we have to. Because that is the way forward. There are rules here, okay? I'm not talking about, oh, you can't park there on a Friday and you need to sort your trash and the plastic needs to go there and the metal needs to go there. No, 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 no. You don't kill someone over money. You don't defile somebody's last wishes by changing a will. That's blood money and you will be haunted. Even if you don't believe in that, that's not, just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I was you before, maybe. Maybe not, but it exists. And it's kind of wrong anyway to do that. Just imagine them looking at you, judging you from above or below, saying, that's not what I wanted. I saw that. You don't need to be doing that. It's not. People are getting sick. Okay, don't just believe me. Look around you. People that are doing wrong are getting sick. What does that tell you? Bad things happen to good people? Look around you. Like, do you really think that this is, there's nothing bigger than you that created this? You think you're the biggest thing in this world that we have here? There's nothing above you that might have created this? Come on. I don't go with any of the religions, but there's something higher than you. There's something higher than me. And if you don't believe that, then you need an ego check, okay? You didn't create this world, but you're certainly manipulating it to your favor and making it worse in some cases. 13 core root families founded, I think, the United States. And what's curious is that everybody kind of knows it. I'm even related to some of them, although I denounce it, and, I'm not entitled at all from any of them in any way whatsoever. But I understand it. And I think in a previous life, I probably was one of them, and that's why I exist here today as I do. Because it's wrong. It's wrong. And they've gotten away with it for centuries. And the new world is here, and we are fixing it. And those that don't want to get on board with fixing it are going to find themselves in the minority really soon. Psychopaths run the world. They tried to kill us. They tried to kill Trump. Don't make it all about him and one person. He's one of us. And he has stepped forward with a calling to fix America. Translation, take it away from the psychopaths. And they don't like him so much because he's winning. So this is what happens. When somebody's a threat, look through history, this is what happens. We're getting somewhere, so they have to double down and try to create we all have to take responsibility for fixing. And I support him because he's not a psychopath like these others that have tried to come and kill us. Trump does not believe in war as the answer. He didn't start any wars. We need no wars. Wars are not the answer. And that's the number one reason why I support him. And I've not always been a Republican. And I understand the concerns that some of you might have. Okay? But your rights have been violated, taken away already. And he's the one to restore it. If you think it's anyone else, it's problematic at this moment. Understand that presidents are generally installed, not voted on and elected into office. They are installed. I'm just the messenger. And the US isn't the end of this. We have a world to heal. A whole world outside of the US. And the US was supposed to be kind of like this model of how to do it for everyone. And it's failed in some ways. But when we fix it, it will be what we can use for the world. And not in the current form. But think of any country right now, and think of anything that tries to pull them all together. None of them are effective enough. And we can't make the ones that are toxic go away quick enough. It's the biggest problem and the biggest challenge that we have at the moment. It's been like, what, 3-4 years since COVID, and we haven't had any kind of like review, accountability, or change in terms of the governing organizations that are worldwide that messed it up. I mean, they messed it up a little bit, didn't they? They certainly don't deserve a second chance in some cases. We would be better off taking our money and putting it into nonprofits that, get the funds directly to the nations that are impacted, or the organizations that are directly the caregivers, like the doctors. Like, I don't want to mention any right now, but it's like we have these large organizations that are part of the problem, and they just suck in the money. Whether they do well or not, they just suck it in, and we just keep paying because the people we put in charge just keep paying them. Well, the whole thing is like cancer, and we just need to friggin' chemo the shit out of it. Until we can do that, though, about revolution. I'm not talking pitchforks. I don't advocate overthrow of the government by pitchfork. We need a scalpel and a machete in some cases. And we need to be open-minded enough to use them in the opposite way sometimes. Because we have gotten to a place that is so dark and so confusing and so befuddled. But the organizations that are declaring this new pandemic, they are not the ones to get us out of it. And they are probably paid for by the same psychopaths that have tried to control everything. And that's really what it's about. The minute you decide that you see something that's trying to control something, that's when we know. Follow the money. What are their intentions? And then there's things like, I'm going to say it. All right. So NATO is 70 years old. You go on their website and they're very anti-Soviet. And that's just automatically transferred to anti-Russian. But those are different. We're in 70 years later. NATO does not represent us. And they keep trying to get us into wars that we don't want. They gotta go. Repeal and replace NATO. That's just on war, though. We've got medical things. We've got intelligence, like these intelligence organizations. There's the big five that work together pretty well. But the laws in each area, in each country, there are loopholes and it's not right, okay? And then the fact that they're coordinating, yeah, that's good, but really, we're paying for like 5 agencies to monitor the crap out of all of us. We didn't ask for that. We don't need that. And yet still, somebody gets, a presidential candidate gets shot in plain daylight. And we have borders that people are fighting about, which I've already talked about, but like, the border is not the issue. It's the people with bad intentions and knowing who they are and what their intentions are and transmuting it. It's not about keeping grandma stuck at the border for 5 hours because she might have some, drug shoved up her granny ass. And you can check for them, but I don't care. The dogs probably know more about this than we do. They're communicating. Agenda 25? Mm-mm. Agenda 30? Mm-mm. If we don't start taking over now and fixing it so that it's the way we want, we are going to end up with something that we really don't want. I just see it so clearly. I see it so clearly. We have been divided and put against each other for decades. I thought of an example today. It was like the metric system, because it's so exhausting. Don't do math. Math kills. No. All right. I don't care which one we use, whether it's metrics or the imperial system. And some countries use both. And some countries don't have a clue that the other exists. I don't even care. And I don't want to be involved really in the decision either. We should have picked one 50, 60 years ago. It's like everything went wrong like 50 or 60 years ago. Like, you had one job. And now it's like, you're on a website and it's just like you have to know them interchangeably. I don't mind learning the other one right now if we say we have to learn the other one, but don't make our descendants be juggling two versions in 20 years from now. We aren't fixing things. Like, one part of the universe is on 50 hertz electricity and one part of the universe is on 60 hertz electricity, and maybe you don't know about that, but let's talk about it in a simple, in a simple way. This doesn't fit. Okay, this doesn't fit. But it also doesn't fit for a reason. You can't just take this to Mars or back to the US and plug it in and think that it'll work. Because even if you get a converter, it's not going to last. I can tell you that. And this again goes back, that one's 100 years, I think. That is Tesla and Edison. We have two different electric systems. Frequencies. We have like 8 different plugs, or outlets and plugs. But they're all symbolic of don't put it in there. How long are we going to live with this? It's all energy, it's all electricity. How long are we going to live with this? At least pick something for the new stuff. Like, let's all agree that Mars will be on whatever. Because if I go to Mars with my US stereo, that's not even mine. If I go to Mars with my shaver and try to plug it in, and I'm like, I was told that this adapter would work here on Mars. If I get there and it doesn't work, I'm going to be really upset because I'm probably the one that's going to help to design the whole thing. Man. And today, okay, I'm in my 4th different language now, which should be my primary language, and I can't understand it enough. And then, of course, everybody my age, they don't understand English here either. So an 8-year-old has to translate for that. But at least that's sorted. And I'm sorry that it's kind of like, English. I wouldn't have chosen English, I don't think, if I had been consulted in this decision. But we just have to pick something at this point. And for all of you in the US, and I love you, but all of you that are saying, speak English, you're in America, you're going to be speaking Chinese. And good luck with that, because they have 5 shift keys. Or is that Japanese? I don't know. I don't want to learn that either, because I am confused enough on my 4th or 5th language now, and I can't do any of them justice, and I can't even spell in English now anymore as a result. So, look, this is the message. Pick a side, because it matters. And pick the right side. And you may not like who's representing the right side, but you don't want the results of the wrong side. I know, conspiracy. I wish I could say more to convince you. You really have to feel it, though, from the inside out. When he says that it is rigged, You can take that to the bank. You can take that to the post office. You can take that to your hospital. You can take that to your pharmacy. You can take that to the tax authority. It's rigged. It's fucking rigged. Do you get it? It's rigged. Trump didn't rig it. The psychopaths he's running against rigged it. I'll be here, waiting, until he calls to get me back. And there's a lot of us. You need to watch, really, people need to watch the Flynn documentary. Because I was in government when he came and started his professional career. And his story is very important. It's very important. If you can understand the persecution that he went through, being a decorated military veteran who served his country, if you can understand how they came against him, you will understand so much about so many others that have either thrown their hands up, been attacked on their own, or live in exile. This is not my place. Cheers. We'll get through this.
There are churches everywhere. There are just churches in this whole country as a church. And then there's one in the train station too. Can't we get extra Johns?